Whether you have a drip irrigation system or an overhead irrigation system, they both make sense once you understand your soil and your roots. So when we talk about watering, we also have to talk about soil and our plant roots. They all work together. It's like a polygamy. We have to understand our plant root system and the soil that they are in before we can go ahead and target watering. So let's get this one in this video today. I am CountryMarro. Welcome back to the CountryMarro YouTube channel. Please hear me out on this one. Let's see if we can come to some consensus. So plant watering can be confusing at times, so let's not just focus on watering our plants alone. Let's focus on the soil type that we have and even the plant's root system that we are trying to water. We have to put emphasis on all three for us to understand watering what we're growing in our gardens. Every time the topic of water comes up, we hear about inches more than we hear about water and soil and even plant roots. Today, I'm going to fix that one for you guys. So here, we're at my little workstation and I'm going to take my garden hose. I'm going to put it on shower and I'm just going to put some water into these containers. I have this container, this little scoop here, and a 5-gallon container, and I'm going to try my best to just explain something to you guys. So for this container, I'm going to start counting 1, 2, okay. For this one, 1, 2, here we go. And for this one, 1, 2. I'm just working with the measurement system that I see people explaining on the internet and try to show you that this isn't what it is. Alright, so here we have a little less than an half an inch of water, but we're going to call it half an inch of water. In this container, we have exactly an inch of water. And down here, I can't even see it well, but I'm sure we don't have half an inch of water in this. This is a wider bucket than our container, than these two here. So this will fill faster. But when you're measuring overhead watering, that's not the way it should be. Overhead watering, for example, let's go the most natural way, rainfall. If you're going to be measuring rainfall and you have a rain gauge, yes, the rain gauge may fill up or go halfway, whatever amount of rain it is, but you have to bear in mind that the rain is falling evenly across your garden. It's not just in one area, like how I'm going to take this hose and turn water into this. So stick with me here. Here I have a container with soil in it. I went ahead and I measured it all the way down to the bottom, and it's 4 inches. So we have 4 inches of soil here. Totally dry soil. This is an inch of water. I'm going to hold up my container with my totally dry soil, or with my dry soil, and I'm going to pour this into it. And I'm going to pour it in one location because when the rain is falling, it would have been even all around. So I can't take this 1 inch and put it even all around and expect to be measuring it as 1 inch of water going into this spot. So it's there. Let's wait on it. And right there we start coming through with water. Right there we start coming through with water, and it's not running out, but It goes to show turn it up this way. It goes to show that an inch of water in a container is not an inch of water, or it's not an inch of saturation measured in soil, because this water is being contained. If I pour it into this, the water is being contained. It can't go anywhere else, so it's going to overflow. I take this and I pour it into my garden soil. It's going to go all the way down. So hope that explained a little for you guys, because I think most people were putting down too much water. So we're overwatering at times, not because our plants, they are not showing whether brown leaf tips to say that they're being overwatered or the roots are not getting rot. That doesn't mean that we're still not overwatering. Putting down way much more water than is necessary is also overwatering. So I have the 5-gallon bucket here. If I had a container, another 5-gallon bucket with soil in it, and I had things planted in it, and I put an inch of water into this 5-gallon bucket, because now they're going to be the same circumference, and I just turn this over onto it evenly so that the water would go down. That is 1 inch of water I would be putting down onto the next 5-gallon bucket with the soil and the plant in it. That water won't be an inch, even though I'm throwing in an inch of water. The saturation of the soil won't be an inch. It will be 3 to 4 inches of water going down. So that is why I'm saying to you guys that, not because you hear that cabbages may have a 12-inch or 16-inch root on average, means that you should look for 12 inches of water, or you should pour until you think you have 12 inches of water. No. Your first inch or 2 of water that comes out of your, whether it be drip irrigation system or overhead irrigation system, it will meet the demand of your plants. On this table here, we have an amaranth plant, and I'm just going to show you the root system and explain a little to you guys. Here, this is the taproot here on this plant. It is the main root that comes down from the stem of the plant, and it anchors the plant into the ground. The mistake that I hear a whole lot these days is that the deeper your root system, it is the deeper the plant. It is correct, but it is being misunderstood. This root system here, it is what anchor the plant down in the ground. So yes, the deeper it is, the stronger your plant is going to be. But that strength is not what gardeners are talking about. They're talking about the more vibrant the plant is going to be. Deep root system don't necessarily mean that your plant have to be vibrant. This, what it does, it anchors the plant down into the ground. And just stay with me a bit. So this goes down, and it is the main support of the plant in the ground. These are the root system that you see here. The bigger ones, those are secondary roots, and the very fine one, those are tertiary root. What those roots do, they absorb minerals and nutrients from the soil that you see sticking onto them here. They absorb mineral and nutrients from the soil, and they send those minerals and nutrients to the taproot or to the main root. That main root send the minerals and nutrients up to the stem of the plant, and the stem of the plant send those nutrients to the leaves of the plants. Hence, when you uproot a plant, and that is why I went ahead and did this and not get a book and show you a piece of paper or a picture image from the internet. When you uproot a plant, 99% of the time, you will find less dirt on your taproot. Your taproot will be next to clean 99% of the time. Why you have dirt on these roots, your primary, your secondary, and your tertiary root, is because those are the roots that are feeding your primary root. Those roots attract minerals from the soil, minerals and nutrients from the soil. Hence, the soil bond to those roots. Those roots are much smaller and softer. So, as long as the soil is saturated or mineral is moving throughout the earth, these tiny roots here, they can capture it. So that is why in fruit trees and taller plants, bigger trees, you find these tiny roots, they spread out close to the surface of the earth. They're searching for mineral and nutrients. That is how they're being fed. If we were to be depending on this taproot alone, most of the time our plants would die. I hope you understand root system and watering a bit more after this demonstration or explanation, because most people is really getting this thing wrong. This is a carrot. It is also a taproot. It carries secondary and tertiary root system also, so it is considered as a taproot. It is normally referred to as a modified root. So that's it for your carrot. So root system like these, even though they are both taproots, your carrot don't necessarily need deep watering. Even though this carrot look like maybe about 10 inches, it doesn't need 10 inches of water. If you go with an inch of water, that will bring you down about 3 to 4 inches on this carrot. It is enough to feed it, because those smaller roots will absorb the nutrient to feed this root system here. So you're not watering the carrot per se when it is in the ground. You're feeding the soil to feed the root system. Those are the root system, not the main root system here, the taproot. For a plant with fibrous root, here you go, a green onion. This is a plant with fibrous root. It has no taproot to it. Hence, these smaller roots, they picks up the nutrient, they collect the nutrients and mineral from the soil and just send it directly to the plant itself. These don't need deep watering also. These will survive with little watering. Just a nutritious soil and these plants will thrive. And for adventitious root, we have a plant like this with the root systems coming along. So another example would be something like a pumpkin or any plant that can run along and form root system as they go along. I've heard the argument that tomatoes are adventitious. They can be. I'm not going to argue that one, because tomatoes can run along the ground and pick up roots as it goes along and form new plants also. So I'm just definitely not going to get into that argument. So there are three main types of root system that we need to consider in our garden when we're thinking about watering. And that's the fibrous root system, the adventitious root system, and the tap root system. And these plants are going to react totally different to how you water them. So they need different care, rewatering. So you're still confused and still wondering what is the best way to water your garden. The best way to water your garden is on demand and on convenience. First two. Demand meaning how your plants are reacting to the weather, the climate around you. You water your garden firstly based on that. Convenience. Not everyone can sit down in front of a camera every day and go through their garden for 6 or 7 hours. So if you have a 9 to 5 or you're a very busy person, You have to find a way to water your garden at your convenience. Next, you're going to water your garden according to your soil mix that you have, whether you're growing into containers or in ground. So your soil type will affect the way you water your garden. Whether you have a well-drained soil or a compacted soil, or you have mulch put down on top of your soil to retain those moisture in the soil. Next, you're going to think about your root system, your plant's root system, and how frequent or infrequent you should water. Last but not least, your weather pattern. If you're going through a rainy period or you have rain in the morning, you don't have to go ahead and water your plants in the afternoon again. So if you set up an irrigation system that is automatic, whenever you have a rainy period, try put it to a manual system where you can control it, because you don't want to be overwatering and washing away all that nutrients out of your soil, because most times we are the reason for the nutrient loss in our gardens, whether it be in our container or our raised bed. We keep overwatering these areas and we lose our fertilizers that we're putting in very fastly, and the plant doesn't get to absorb it as much as it could. So whether it's going to be your drip irrigation system like this, or your hand watering and have a overhead system, you still can water your plants successfully. Tomatoes, I wouldn't advise you to wet tomato leaves late in the evening, because you don't want that water to sit on the leaves overnight, or most plants' leaf. If you're going for an overhead system, I would say it's best to use that in the morning or throughout the course of the day before sunset, so that your plants can dry out. The soil don't necessarily have to dry out, but you want your leaf to remain dry at night for most part. I tend not to water my lawn at night because it causes fungal issues. The argument can be made that if you have a lawn that you water at night and it causes fungal issue, you should get a different grass type. However, I will throw that one out the door, because whether it be Bermuda, St. Augustine, Fescue, Centipede, Zoysia, whichever of these grass type, if you continue to water them at nights, you will develop fungal issue. That is a must. So now I'm taking you guys down a bit closer. I don't want to stay too long on the lawn, but this is what the lawn look like, and it's an active lawn, meaning we use it a lot. We play volleyball out here, we play soccer out here, and with my watering technique, this is how it's looking like. Hence, there's a reason why in the tropics, whether it be in the Caribbean, here in Florida, in Southeast Asia and South America, where you have golf courses, they do water those golf courses in the middle of the day. Not to say feed the grass, but to cool the grass down at times, because the sun can stand in the sky and get very hot at times. Hence, you need to cool your plants down throughout the course of the day, at times, not all the time. So nothing is wrong with you watering your lawn in the middle of the day. Just bear that it's not a deep watering you're going to do. You're just cooling off your plant leaves. So this section where the leaves extend to, this would be known as the drip line, where when you get heavy rain, or when you get rain, any form of rain or above watering, here is where most of the water will drip off. Here is where the plant will take up most of its nutrients, out here, the drip line. So it will send small secondary roots out here, and the tertiary root will feed the secondary root. The secondary roots will feed the primary root, and it sends the nutrients up to the trunk of the plant, stems and leaves, and that's how your plant will feed. So This is a perfect example of a fruit tree and how the watering system goes for a fruit tree. So you don't take a fruit tree and put a drip irrigation directly at the root of the fruit tree. One more thing, as we're talking about fruit trees and watering, this is my longan. See here, it's bearing a lot. We have a whole lot of longan this year. So this is a Bermuda lawn that I only give one deep watering per week. If I should water it more than once, it's just light watering, mostly throughout the days, to just keep the leaves of the grass blades cool from not shriveling up or getting brown. So for your lawn grass, it's a different system of watering than your garden plants. Please do not confuse them, internet land. So now that I've explained to you about watering and that watering is much deeper than you thought, tell me, what are your thoughts on it now? Let me know in the comment section. That's it from me, CountryMarro. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Cheers.